Mate, and people call Superman overpowered. Flash breaks the universe just by running. He's busted realities before with a gentle jog. Realistically, there should be no crime at all in DC's America with a fella like the Flash around. So, can you envision the sheer balls it would take to willingly fight him? Usually I'd say some shit like, today we're glancing some Flash foes who might not get much of a showing, but Flash as a whole is so underrepresented, it's tragic. How have we never had a standalone Flash cartoon? Justice League doesn't count because I mean a pure Flash show like Batman and Superman had. He really needs one. We did get about 9 seasons of a TV show, but only the first one was really any good. He barely even fought any real rogues. They spammed evil speedsters almost every season, and Barry needed a crew behind him to remind him every episode that he should probably just run. But it was still worth a watch for Danielle Panabaker alone. I'm getting off topic. Basically, we're going to sit down and read about some Flash foes that haven't yet hit their stride as supervillains. Now, just to clarify, this is going to be Barry Allen Flash only. Personally, my favourite's Wally West, but the first name that comes to most people's mind when you say Flash is Barry Allen, so let's just do him. Let's light up some underrated Flash villains. So yeah, I mean, she's Flash's coolest villain's little sister, but we don't often hear about the Golden Glider outside the context of the Rogues, and this is underrated villains, not forgotten foes. So let's check out Lisa Snart's first foray solo into crime from Flash 250 and 251. Right then, so here lies the top, gone but not quite forgotten as one of the Flash's most deadly foes, until he spun himself into an early grave. Here stands the villainous Captain Cold, an equally deadly rogue who's still very much alive and very much devoted to the destruction of his arch-enemy, the Flash. And what do you imagine these two costumed criminals have in common, except the fact they were both on the same team trying to murder the Flash? Would you believe the Golden Glider? One freeze-dried Flash, coming right up. Narration boxes with hands and fingers are creeping me the hell out. A peaceful day in Central City is shattered by the return of Flash's coolest criminal, Captain Cold. It's yet another ice-cold confrontation between the Scarlet Speedster and the baby blue bad boy. Cunning Cold uses his freeze gun to send Flash slipping wild, a full power powder snow, and Speedy is gonna need an ice pack. I'm wasting all my cold puns early because Lenny Snart isn't the focus of the show this time. All he freezes are Barry's boots before someone, a cheeky fisherman by the looks of things, snags his cold gun from his hands. One of his cold guns anyway. Lenny isn't playing around as he draws his spare cold cannon. But he reholsters his blizzard blaster when the gun thief is revealed to be Snart's own sister, Lisa. She stole Lenny's glacier gun because that would be too quick a death for the Flash. Lisa Snart wants to put the Crimson Comet through hell first, to make him suffer as she suffered when Flash made her lose. Roscoe. Lenny does try and tell her to move on, but all she has to say to that is cold threats. A woman who had love and lost it in violence, but who is this amber-garbed antagonist? A world-renowned ice skating champion, coached in both the rink and the bedroom by one man. The Top, the dork who uses Beyblades to commit crimes. He was banging this bed? No way. I can believe in the superspeed scientist, but Top having a girlfriend is just too unrealistic. And guess what? Top's on the bottom now because his ass is grass. He's even got the spinning top shaped thing on his grave and everything. Christ. He died in Flash 243, so let's hang on a minute. I want to know how, because there's no way Barry really killed him, is there? Oh shit, no, yeah, my mistake. Barry did kill him by accidentally mixing vibrations. That sounds sexual. And Flash's high-speed shakes are gonna tremble the Top's brain to dust. Okay. Maybe Lisa's revenge is justified after all. Captain Cold again sends chills down Flash's spine with a hilarious prank. Cold is genuinely funny, dude. This time, he's mailed a block of ice to Central PD. that grows gargantuan whenever the Flash gets near it. I bloody love this bad guy, this is just funny now. Flash uses friction to melt it down, but look at the mess it makes, mate. Living in Central City must be hell. Why were you late for work? Captain Cold flooded the roads. The Trickster stole my alarm clock. I got trapped in the goddamn mirror dimension. Flash stops to catch his breath, and Leonard has the Scarlet Scumbag right where he wants him. But then a poisonous spinning top twirls doom to Captain Cold. It's Lisa. She warned their brother to leave Flash to her, and now she shows that she meant it. Cap Cold melts out of consciousness, leaving the Flash stumped. Barry's only clue: Snart's missing cold gun. Golden Glider escapes the scene, and with Leonard behind bars, Barry's problems are strictly female. For example, this woman he's kissing here. That's not his wife. She's movie superstar Daphne Dean, and she's got amnesia or some bullshit. A childhood friend of Barry's. She's slowly putting the pieces of her memory back together with Barry's help. But not everyone is as understanding as Mr. Allen. For example, Mrs. Allen, Iris, ace reporter, has uncovered evidence that it's all bullshit. Daphne's been lying to get a part in a movie. What if we walked in on here? This is unhinged. Who the hell does this? And all that glitters is gold because Glider's here too. She's used a Flash locator top to track the hero down, and now she can finally get her revenge on that super speed spouse slayer. Iris is pissed that her husband fell for his ex's act, but Barry knows no matter how she feels about him, Iris can't stay mad at the Flash. He quick changes and snuggles up, right in view of the Glider. The cunning warrior attacks neither mind nor... oh hang on, that's from Marvel. Either way, Glider intends to attack Flash's heart. Lisa lets it rip and launches her tops at her target, but no matter how you spin it, Flash is just too fast. He yanks Iris out of the way of laser beams as bloody top shoots laser beams. No sooner is one threat dealt with before another comes twirling in. The Flash is captured in a whirlwind of pure energy, helpless as he sees Golden Glider emerge with Captain Cold's winter weapon. All Barry Allen can do is watch as his wife is blasted by concentrated absolute zero. Look how short Glider's dress is here, mate. Know what? I'm getting a new respect for the top. Wait, 1 bloody second. Flash escapes by disassembling his own atoms and rebuilding himself outside of the trap. No bastard way. How the hell are you supposed to fight someone that can do that shit? I am done. I was just a young, unthinking grown man when I first became Skull Ryan. But the years have a way of slipping by, of changing the world about us. And every boy, sooner or later, must put away his toys and become a man. Who am I kidding? Barry thinks he's too slow, but somehow it's Flash who gets fried, even though Iris was stood right there. Weird one, but hey, Flash is dead. Ooh, oh no, wait, no. Flash's absolutely bullshit mastery of every single atom in his body lets him shake off the shivers, easy peasy. What the hell does it take to kill this guy? I'm genuinely terrified of the Flash. That's my question, but what the Allens want to know is why Glider's targeting the innocent Iris, and why didn't it work? Brace yourself for more bullshit. Apparently Cold's gun can only be programmed to hit one target at a time. Flash took the freeze, but Iris will be the next to feel Glider's cold wrath. Speaking of cold, oh no, he's dead! Leonard has suddenly collapsed in prison just as he swore revenge on his own sister too. What a way to go. Heatwave will be devastated. I'm gutted that he's dead, but for Flash it's one more bad guy down, innit? Go ahead, Flash. Barry and Iris's mourning is interrupted by Glider's next strike against the Flash. Another funny spinning top, and Iris is abducted. You know who this looks like a job for? Ah, dude, cool action sequence. Flash launches himself skyward and snatches his bird from the spinning top trap, but a safe body doesn't mean a safe mind. That spinning top has hypnotized Iris into delivering Glider's message to Flash, spelling out that Glider wants revenge for the death of the top, and that she knows that Flash fancies Barry Allen's wife. For God's sake, must every comic book involve adultery? Also, how thick is Glider? Doesn't it cross her mind that Barry might actually be the Flash? Also, now the high-speed hero knows his wife is in more danger than he himself is, so he can plan accordingly, telling him this benefited Glider. Nothing, should have just done it. Barry's research into this skating supervillain is interrupted by Daphne Dean. Mate, he's still talking to her after that amnesia shit before. She does look hot here though. If she's so eager to play a part, Barry's got one in mind for it. That sounded sexual as well, but I meant it genuinely. He's gonna have her help against Glider. Holy shit, at Central City Morgue, one of the bodies reanimates as a marauding block of ice. Dude, forget Glider, now we got frozen zombies to deal with. No way, dude. It's Leonard Snart. If you're gonna fight the Flash, you've gotta match his bullshit with your own. Lenny's put himself into a sub-zero trance to simulate death and escape prison. Where did the ice come from, you ask? Who cares? There's no time for logic when you're dealing with Captain Cold. Random tickets to the ice capades clue Barry in. Before his death, the top had been sighted in every town the ice show visited, and Alan's clocked on it was because he was probably shagging the star. Also, Glider's been wearing ice skates this whole time. The stage is set, but will Glider's performance melt the Flash's heart? The performance begins innocently enough as professional Lisa Starr glides onto the ice in a gold star. Oh wait a second, that's the Glider! The second she sees Iris Allen in the crowd, gold turns cold and a blizzard barrage blasts Barry's babe. But it didn't work. Iris is fine. And now here comes the Flash. Not looking too good for this ice cold hottie now, is it? And now it's even worse, because Captain Cold is in the house. Central City's two greatest forces united to stop Lisa. But Glider was trained by the one, the only, the top. So she's gonna spin to win. The brother-sister super battle distracts the Snarts as Flash goes in hot. Sibling rivalry cools down alongside Cold and Glider when Flash encases them both in a storm of Sub-Zero. How'd you like it, Leonard? The Flash has saved the day again, and Iris unmasks as Daphne Dean. Glider's Cold Blaster was programmed to make an ice cube of only Iris, so when it blasted the disguised Daphne, it didn't do shit. Looks like Golden Glider gets the silver. This was fun, but dumb. Like, does Captain Cold have to reset his gun for the specific police officer that responds to his bank robbery? No, he just shoots. But in this story, it had to be programmed individually. What the hell? Otherwise, Glider was cool. She follows a Brother's Cold theme, but with her own spin. Oh no way, dude, spin! What a pun, because she twirls like the top. It's mad how she was so ready to fight Lenny. From the other stuff we've read, Lisa seemed to be the only person Cold would never hurt, because that abusive father shit, remember? It's always dodgy at the start though, innit? Glider obviously returns and joins the Rogues with a brother later, so they do make up at least, that's nice. But yeah, Glider was good, and seeing her go solo was interesting. She had unique motivation amongst Flash villains as well. They usually use goofy gear to rob banks, like our next villain. And if you thought Glider was golden, our next baddie is yellow, and green, and blue, and indigo. Pride Month already? No, fool, that's Rainbow Raider, a criminal that's absolutely on the spectrum. The visible light spectrum, Flash 286, colours us shocked. A museum's getting robbed. Go, Flash, go! But atop the burgled building shines a lovely rainbow. Why am I rhyming? This bad guy uses light, not sound. Crime scenes usually have blood, but this one's awash in tears. Two museum guards are bawling their eyes out as Flash arrives, not doing their jobs because they're too busy crying. Flash follows the directions and soon comes face to face with the Rainbow Raider, the most colourful costumed criminal Central City has ever seen. Double R's been looking forward to fighting Flash, but our hasty hero is too tired to deal with this bright bandit. Flash barely dodges Raider's blasts of blue, and the lash of light helps Barry connect the dots to those crying guards. Could this many-hued henchman really control emotions through light? Rainbow Raider literally beats Flash black and blue when his darkest black beam blasts at the Flash. Barry's whole body goes numb at the shadowy strike, giving Raider the time he needs to go dark. Oh, and he is out of there. I had thought he was a bit goofy, but seeing him escape riding a rainbow, this dude rules. That cheeky bastard even leaves his name at the scene of the crime. How he was dressed was one thing, but this is confidence. Another molester text box here. But Flash is too busy to save us from it. He's got his own problems. The Raider's colour beams don't only alter the emotional state of its victims, hang on, shouldn't this guy be fighting Green Lantern instead? But they've also sucked the colour right out of Flash. In a caravan north of Central City, our colourful criminal gloats to himself about his successful robbery, but just who is this multicoloured marauder? Roy G. Bigelow, his goddamn name, as Roy G. Biv, like the order of rainbow colours, oh my life. He was an artist at heart, and yet he was born colourblind as a bat. But his rich dad would find a way to let young Roy follow his dreams. And on his deathbed, his father follows through with his promise. He hands Roy specially designed plasma goggles. And then he just kinda dies. But Bigelow Sr. must have been on some strong painkillers, because they don't give Roy colour vision. They just friggin' blast rainbows instead. Bands of colourful hard light he can shoot, ride, and use to terrorise a world that mocks him with colours he can never comprehend. Roy G. Bigelow would take their precious colour spectrum and make it his weapon, a paintbrush carved into a shiv for this cold, grey world. Truly he would become a rainbow Raider. Smart-ass Alan realises whatever Raider wellied him with is stopping him from reflecting coloured light waves, so imagine how much Captain Cold and his crew would laugh if they knew Flash was wearing makeup. This one alone should get Raider Rogue membership. But to add injury to insult, the colour radiation has also been stealing energy from Barry's body. It's actively draining his charge, so Barry has to save his speed. Hang on, Rainbow Raider can nullify Flash's super speed. He's actually threatening as hell. No. Oh, what are the odds of this? There's a new art museum opening in Central City. The week a colour-based art thief villain first appears. Are they taking the piss? This is wild, dude. That artistic antagonist is defo gonna strike, so the monochrome crusader rushes in. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's getting ugly on the streets. Raider's emotional energy output has the crowd become a riot to keep them distracted long enough for him to abscond with the art. But this paint-by-numbers heist is about to get sketchy. By the time those upper-crust art patrons regain control of their tempers, I'll be long gone. More paintings for your private collection, Raider? Well, if it isn't the Flash, up and around again. That running up a building trick of yours always did amaze me. Whew. The colour drain took more out of me than I thought. I already feel like I've run 1,000,000 miles. Oh, I figured running along the microscopic solid light particles of my rainbow would be a snap for you as well. And I was right. For a crook about to be nabbed, he's awfully cheerful. But just as the Scarlet Speedster is about to apprehend his prey, I like to call this effect my bright idea. A real dazzler, wouldn't you say? It's like looking into 1,000 bursting flashbulbs. Happy landings, old boy. Falling, only one way to keep my weary bones intact. Calling upon his molecular virtuosity, the alien Speedster summons up just enough energy to vibrate through the decrepit auto-wreck beneath him, enable him to emerge unharmed, but not unchanged. Good gosh, what's happened to me? I'm not black and white anymore, I'm green. Completely green. Like the scientist he is, the Speedster swiftly analyzes his incredible predicament. I must have been vibrating on the precise wavelength of the color green when I passed through this heat, somehow allowing me to regain my capacity to absorb green light waves. I may be onto something here. Let's see what happens when I vibrate on a yellow wavelength and pass my molecules through this yellow bus wreck. Success! Now I'm totally green and yellow. Looks like I'm definitely onto something here. Just from these two colors alone, I can already feel that I've regained some of my lost energy. Meanwhile, watching from his rainbow perch above. That fall must have knocked Flash right out of his gourd. He's running back and forth between those junk heaps like a chicken that's lost its head. Pathetic. Ooh, any other villain might not be so confident right about now, but the Rainbow Raider, you'll recall, dear reader, is colourblind, and to him, the speed and flash is still black and white, while in reality, the monarch of motion has never looked more brilliant. At last, I found every colour I needed among these junkyard heaps, and I've matched every wavelength frequency in the colour spectrum. Now, with any luck, when I return my vibrations to normal, but at that same instant, I just couldn't resist the temptation to give Flash a dose of the same anger-inducing red rays I beamed at that art crowd. It'll send him into a speeding rage. Here's a dose of colour for you, Flash. Enough to send you off on a running rampage through the city while... Huh? You're suddenly alert enough to dodge my beams? And that's not all, Raider. I'm my old colourful self again. A Scarlet Speedster who's pledged to protect the people of Central City from costumed creeps like you. Oh. And within the blink of an eye... My goggles. Where are my goggles? Right here. I took the trouble of removing them at super speed. Your short-lived career as a master criminal is over, Raider. This is the end of the line for you. Not to mention, the end of the rainbow. And just like that, it's lights out for the Rainbow Raider. But in the end, he was the exact type of supervillain I love to see. A bit silly on the outside, but with real power behind a crazy costume. The man slowly sapped all the Flash's powers, so if he'd laid low for long enough, he could have gotten rid of Central City's hero. For good. I love his silly little grudge as well. He thinks that because he can't appreciate the beauty of art, no one should be able to. That's why he steals people's paintings. What the hell was this guy's dad on? Who the hell was he that he could harness the emotional spectrum into a weapon? The Lantern Corps should have arrested Roy's dad ages ago for this, really, shouldn't they? But as usual, the biggest source of bullshit was Flash himself. What the hell is this? Vibrating at the frequency of green. Flash just says things and that makes it true. The Speed Force is such bullshit, it breaks the rules of reality. It's literally magic. So our final foe is going to bring some magic of his own. Abra Kadabra. As classic a villain as it's gonna get, this fella isn't just sleight of hand and stage performances, he's got more than flowers hidden up his sleeves. Why is every Flash villain so goddamn complex? This isn't just some guy good at stage magic, or even a real magician like Zatanna and her dad. This prick just has to be from the 64th century, of course. In the year 6363, goddamn, would the sun even still burn that far ahead? The most persecuted race on the planet is the stage magicians. Science has explained any and all magic away, leaving the Magicians Guild livid at their mega advanced society. These nerds are fuming that their world would rather cure cancer than confuse kids with card tricks. And now those scientific sons of bitches have invented time travel. Children are never going to enjoy pulling coins from their ears if they can time travel. Damn you, science! You'll pay for this. You'll pay dearly. Then again, perhaps science can be put to some good use after all. What if our bippity-boppity bad guy stole their new time machine and travelled back in time to when his tricks could really wow the audience? This panel here is so sad I don't even want to make a joke about it. He practices in his bedroom and plays ambient noise of cheering audiences. Jesus Christ, dude. Get some friends. Not long after, across town in a building dedicated to science. You understand, gentlemen, that the propulsive force in our time vehicle is the radioactive M-metal. We came across a small quantity of it by accident in a meteorite, but its radiation is petering out swiftly. Therefore, we can only make one time trip, and nothing must go wrong or we will not be able to Before this, I've used my hypno ray, concealed in the gem flower of my lapel, only in my mind-reading act. But for long now, I've known it can also be used to put people in a hypno spell.
Well, that will hold those scientists. They won't come out of it for several minutes, and by that time I hope to be far, far away, if my plan works out.
Inside the strange time vehicle.
Of course, I'm taking a terrific chance. I don't know anything about working this machine, but a magician is supposed to be handy with gadgets. Now this looks like the starter.
The next moment.
Great cosmos! I'm on my way. But to where? I've got to see if I can control this thing. There! I've set the dial for the 20th century. My dream era. Who knows? Maybe I may even see Houdini with my own eyes. If I live through this, that is.
Kadabra crashes hard, but he crashes right. Right into the 20th century. It's Central City, 1962. And suddenly his played out parlor tricks are enough to blow the mind of these cavemen equivalent civilians. As Kadabra finally hit the big time. Ooh, not yet, dork. He's gone back in time. But this is still the DC universe. These people see fun shit like this daily. Abra wants to be the star of the show, but in Central, he's just another clown. So much competition. Too much competition. The World Series. A statue unveiling. And who's this in today's paper? A costumed hero known as the Flash seems to hog all the headlines in this city. But Abra's cooler than this red pajama punk. And maybe he should prove it. But how to show up this scarlet scoundrel? We'll need to draw him out first, and that statue getting unveiled seems like the perfect bait. Bippity boppity boo. The crime is done, and Abra's hypno ray entrances the audience before they can prevent his escape. It even stops Flash in his tracks. And now, the newspapers are plastered with the face of Abra Kadabra.
In due course. This is more like it. Stories about me in all the newspapers. And here is my picture on the front page. I should be satisfied. And yet, I'm not. One thing was missing from my exploit. There was no applause. From now on in my performances, I must rectify that omission. Now let me see for my next public appearance.
Tell you what, Barry Allen's a quick study, isn't he? He's already realised Kadabra struck the statue because it was the day's headline, so Flash already knows where the Mad Magician's gonna strike next. Today's headline is of the world's oldest book, and it's in Central City, so Flash speeds off to the local library where, to our horror, Kadabra is all ready. Go Flash, go! Not even Flash is fast enough to escape Kadabra's hypno ray, but even being captured in a constant urge to applaud the heist and Houdini stops our quick crusader. He's an attention seeker, but Kadabra's actually a huge threat, isn't he? This hypno ray stuff and his advanced technology is so powerful, even the Flash's body must follow Kadabra's every command. What if he told Barry to run into the sun or some shit? Luckily for Flash, Kadabra just escapes, but the futuristic showman knows Flash is gonna be a problem. Oh mate, the balls on him. Abra Kadabra puts a challenge to the Flash in the newspaper. He's putting on a show, and he'd like Flash to be his lovely assistant. The stage is set. Cocky Kadabra finally has his audience, and now it's time for his greatest trick. The vanishing of the Flash. Presto! And the hero is gone. All that remains of Central City's saviour is a scarlet supersuit. But where is Barry Allen? More like Barry Alien now. Kadabra has teleported him into space. Look at Barry's lack of a shit to give though. Propelled through the cosmos. And all he has to say is, well, this is a fine howdy do. And good grief, he's naked. Oh my god, no wait, it's even weirder. In an adventure about a super speedster fighting a future wizard, the strangest thing is that Barry wears his day clothes underneath his costume. What a weirdo, he's a never nude. Well shit dude, what now? Trapped on an empty floating rock in the middle of the endless ocean of black space, Barry is well and truly screwed. There's no sound in space so you can't shout for Superman. There's no sexy aliens to attract Green Lantern. Maybe if we spin really fast Wonder Woman will show up. Oh hey look, spinning does work but not how I joked it would. Barry does a few laps around the tiny planetoid and builds up enough momentum to propel himself all the way back to Earth. He was trapped in friggin' space for God's sake, and that didn't stop him. How the hell are you supposed to fight the Flash? He didn't even burn on re-entry, and he's not even wearing his super suit. Terrifying. Now all that's left is to lift the curtain on Kadabra's crime spree. Barry performs even more Speed Force bullshit and traces excess radiation that Abra's magic trick has left on his costume, which I guess the villain kept as a trophy. Barry follows the trail at super speed, which leads him right to his mustache magical would-be murderer. Kadabra's just chilling with his Flash costume when suddenly the uniform itself comes to life. Has the Flash's ghost returned for revenge? No, it's Barry, vibrating so quick that he's invisible. That's a fun use of super speed, innit? Think of the pranks. This is it then, lads. No audience, no parts to play, just a showdown between the Scarlet Speedster and the 63rd century sorcerer. We've seen the bullshit both characters can pull off, and it's finally time to end it. And it's anticlimactic as hell because Flash just runs up to him and drags Kadabra into his own hypno ray beam, keeping him dazzled long enough to lock him up. And that's it. That's the ending. But what matters is the journey, not the destination. Abra Kadabra was mental fun from page 1. He's from so far in the future that science is indistinguishable from magic, but in his own time, he was such a loser. He really did just want to live life on easy mode. It's like going back to the 1800s with an iPhone. How funny would it have been if he went too far back and he got burned at the stake for witchcraft? Abra Kadabra was fun and a unique threat, and he was a good Flash baddie because anyone less powerful than the Flash would never have been able to stop him. He should have went to try and wow Gotham instead, because I can't see how Batman would ever take this guy down. The coolest thing about Flash villains is that they're never as simple as they first appear. Glider was Captain Cold's sister, but that didn't even matter in the end. She wanted revenge for the murder of the Top, and she didn't just want Flash dead, she wanted him to suffer. Rainbow Raider seemed to be robbing paintings for the payday, but no mate, he's doing it to deny the world a look at the beauty that he himself had forever been denied. And Abra Kadabra could have been some Mysterio-like illusionist, could have been a real wizard looking for glory, but no mate, he's from 60,000 years in the future, and he wants to impress people with his act. That is an absurd amount of time to travel back from, my god. But like I said at the start, for some reason, Flash and friends and foes are barely touched outside of the comics. It's the same situation that Daredevil's in. No solo cartoon, no standalone video games. It's weird, dude, they're both so cool. At least Daredevil's got the excuse that they don't want to have heavy Catholic themes in a kid's cartoon. But why don't we have a Flash show? Absolute joke. DC, I know you watch these. Step it up, lads. This guy needs more exposure. Him and his villains are cool as hell.